Good morning in Europe and good afternoon in Tokyo. Well, almost it's 5 p.m. In Tokyo, so good evening is appropriate word. So it is my pleasure to be joined to the great event of the World FinTech Festival, broadcasting from Tokyo. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Jumpei Miwa. I'm responsible for the, currently responsible for the FinTech innovation, as well as the sustainable finance issues, as a assistant director, assistant commissioner for international affairs. I had this event is the collaboratively broadcasted with the Singapore events, and here is Kurimoto-san and I are now in the broadcasting hub of Tokyo. And connecting with the other panelists, Julien and JC, in France on remote basis. Today we have invited 3 guests in the speakers in today's session. Let me briefly introduce the panelists first. Mr. Jean-Christophe Finidori, founder, general manager, HODLNG. Hi, JC. Nice to see you again. And
nice to see you.
Yes, and Mr. Kenichi Kurimoto, CEO, Nayuta Incorporated, which is a blockchain company in Japan and based in the Fukuoka. Yeah. Thank you for coming, Kurimoto-san. And finally, Dr. Julien Bringer, CEO Kallistech, and he is also the beginning blockchain governance initiative network of the initial contributor. Hi, Julien.
Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we have a very distinguished panelists here. Before entering into the talking session, I will deliver a kind of a curtain opening talk as today's introduction. Long-lasting epidemic has prevented us from the meeting face-to-face. We are not able to physically talk each other under harsh situation around us, but we are still in struggle for the countering risks over the second or third wave of the overspread of the COVID-19. As seen the action of the fight against the widespread epidemic, technological innovation has demonstrated as important enabler to provide a resilient solution to counter the unprecedented risks. For example, contact tracing system along with privacy protection is a typical outcome attained by technology. These efforts will certainly enhance our ability to prevent and mitigate future risks. In this context, technology has a lot of opportunity for further applicability to social activity and social good. This is also applicable to the blockchain technology. A representative use case of blockchain is, everyone knows, crypto assets, including Bitcoin. But the underlying technological natures of blockchain, such as decentralization, autonomy, and tamper-proofing, may provide a resilient solution for social activity and infrastructures. So especially in a discussion for rising issue of the sustainability, our greener economy, carbon emission project, highly motivated by the mitigating the risk of the climate changes and creating new markets functioning and opportunities such as carbon tradings. Blockchain have a potential to coordinate the issue of the transparency for keeping the proper data record using a tamper-proofing. And it is just initial thought, but it's likely to contribute to the issue of the sustainability and efficient market functioning in the face of the necessity of the proper data keeping of the carbon footprint and verification of the processes. We can say the blockchain will be likely to contribute to the making economy more efficient. Thus, this time we'd like to highlight the issue of the blockchain in combination with the issue of the sustainability. We can talk 2 or 3 topics for discussion if time is permitted. And an initial intervention. We'd like to two panelists on the current use case of the blockchain technology, and would like to spell out the opportunities and the challenges of these projects. So firstly, I would like to ask the JC to provide your personal backbone and your business profile and how you use the blockchain in your business.
Sure.
Could you use that slide? Okay, show the slide, okay? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jumpei, for this introduction and the way you picture accurately this topic. So I'm Jean-Christophe Finidori. JC, it's much easier. I'm the founder of HODLNG, a blockchain startup. We've incorporated the company in Tallinn, Estonia, and we are fully dedicated to one market, the liquefied natural gas industry. I will explain that in much more details a little bit later. But first, let me introduce myself. So before setting and incorporating HODLNG, my previous job was with the United Nations. I was working in the context of internet development, digitalization for our member countries. And in that context, 3-4 years ago, I contributing to develop blockchain solutions. Next slide, please. In the context of my previous assignment, of course, working for United Nations, it means for me, when you say blockchain and sustainability, it's directly connected to the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. I listed here on this slide. I couldn't see my slide, but I'm pretty sure that I can deliver my speech without the slide. So if I do remember well, what I've put on this slide is that the first project and the first way to use blockchain technology for sustainability and to deliver the SDGs was related to digital inclusion. Indeed, and it's one of the major usage so far of the blockchain technology, is to permit for people in remote area or in underserved regions or for the unbanked to get access to a more convenient and, most importantly, less costly way to transfer money. So 5 years ago, at the UN Nations, in my position, we started to support countries on that. And then I had I was fortunate to be involved in different initiatives. Blockchain for good, blockchain for positive impact. And every time the main topics was about above the digital inclusion and the financial inclusion. It was about property rights. And one of the obvious topics was related to the land titling, with some successful and concrete examples how to record some information and for the people to retrieve this information at a very affordable cost. It was related as well to agriculture, which is very interesting because when you think about blockchain, you didn't make the connection with agriculture. And the funny thing is, when I started in the web industry 25 years ago, a lot of people, the major usage of the web was from farmers. And for an obvious reason that through the web, they can access to a very reliable weather forecast. And with the blockchain and agriculture, there is some very, very interesting initiative, how to sustain, how to encourage local initiatives, and how to facilitate the supply and through the whole supply chain. Supply chain, it's another obvious topic and obvious application for blockchain solutions. And most specifically, when it's related to sustainability, related to clothes, footwear, and garment. Because when you apply the blockchain, you have the visibility and the transparency on the different information from where the good is coming from, the different aspects of the way it was manufactured, the way it was supplied, and the way it's distributed. And on this very specific topic, when I was in the UN agency, I was focusing on mining and extractive industry. Indeed, I observed that there were some interesting and relevant projects related to that, with the obvious goal of to provide more transparency and on the working conditions, on the way the mining and extractive industry are putting the goods on the market, and obviously how the way the fairness and the profit is distributed or redistributed. And then it sounds obvious to me that blockchain was a perfect example, a perfect business case for the liquefied natural gas industry. For many reasons. The first one is it's a supply chain with many inefficiencies, with a lack of transparency, and sometimes we see occurred some anti-competitive practices. And when you have those elements, inefficiency, lack of transparency, and lack of competitiveness, blockchain is the ideal tool to tackle that. Next slide, please. The way we envisage HODLNG is that we are using the blockchain technology with a smart contracting approach to fully leverage all the benefits that this product and this energy can provide. We start with the way to tackle a first issue related to the contract and to bring some flexibility in the contracting approach and process. And the smart contract, the way we set up rules, the way we could enforce those rules, provide the flexibility that this market needs. But more importantly and more largely, we are now considering this source of energy as an interesting lever to address the different issues that you listed in your introduction, Jumpei, and more specifically, of course, the climate change mitigation in the sense of the LNG and has a role to play on that, and the way the producing economies, especially for those who need it the most, how we can be assured that there is a fair distribution of additional revenue, how there is a full transparency in the different positive impact business that the companies, oil and gas companies, are putting in place, and how for the social environment and societal environment, how it's fully benefiting for the people on the ground. One of the aspects that we explored was how we can provide an additional revenue and how we can trigger a redistribution approach, especially for the people on the ground. And it's not limited to the least developing countries, but as well for the highly industrialized countries. When you have some marginalized people or local communities or indigenous communities, that's interesting to use the blockchain to, again, to provide the transparency and to provide this mechanism to generate and to redistribute this additional revenue. Next slide, please. So very briefly, how we use the public blockchain is that we create what we call a digital asset. It's a virtual representation of a volume of gas. We provide to this digital asset some attributes, some characteristics. Of course, the volume could be interesting to have the price, the journey of this LNG. And now, more recently, we had some intangible attributes, including GHG emission, to provide the tool to compensate and offset the emission, and provide the tool to give some transparency and to value the development levy, the effort that companies are putting through this activity. Meaning that during the whole lifetime of this asset, the users can see, can control, can monitor, and can interact with this digital asset. And why is sustainable? In our view, because every time you are using the platform, every time a user creates an event on this digital asset, we are collecting fees and we are redistributing those fees to vetted NGOs or through development agency at the governmental level. So we're able to create an additional value based on non-material, intangible elements incorporated in this volume of gas. We can split it. The users are interacting with that. And as I said, we're collecting fees and we are redistributing those fees. So this is the way we envisage the sustainability part. Beyond the environmental impact, beyond the way to provide some flexibility and more liquidity on this market, the main idea is to provide an additional way to create additional revenue, to generate additional revenue, and to redistribute this revenue. And I think I have one more slide, or maybe that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So good presentation. So I recall the day 15 years ago, I was engaged in the LNG project as a financier. I understand the LNG business contains inefficiency because the LNG trading is sustained by the long-term contract. And this provides a stable the given amount of supply to importing countries. But in general, cost of LNG business is under such a long-term contract. So supply chain network is the very streamlined, but contains inefficiency or inflexibility of the business. So your business is contribute to the making the efficiency of the LNG trading using the blockchain technology, especially in light of the smart contracts. Thank you so much. So I think I understand your presentation, very informative one. So next is the Kurimoto-san. So I ask for the same type of the question. Starting with your backbones or your business profile and opportunities, challenge of the your businesses of the blockchain. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kenichi Kurimoto, CEO of Nayuta Corporation. Nayuta Corporation is a Japanese technology startup in blockchain area. Nayuta is founded 2025, and we got investment from venture capitals. Okay. We have two business domains. The one is Lightning Network, Bitcoin second layer protocol, and another one is enterprise blockchain. Okay. In Lightning Network business domain, we develop Lightning Network protocol itself, and we also develop the application of Lightning Network for business. We are recognized the contributor of Lightning Network protocol by global community, developer community. And the application, a Nayuta application on Android smartphone has a unique feature, and many people talked about that feature in communities. About the enterprise blockchain domain, we provide one-stop solution for large companies who want to use blockchain for their business. We conduct research which blockchain is suitable for client business, and we also develop infrastructure, and we support the development of applications. Left side of this slide shows the basic overview of Lightning Network. The Lightning Network is second layer protocol of Bitcoin. The first layer of Bitcoin, everybody knows first layer of Bitcoin has small TPS. It can handle about 7 transactions per sec, and it needs confirmation time. And sometimes fee goes high. But Lightning Network has a good future for such aspect. It can handle high TPS, and it complete payment real time, and the fee is extremely low comparing to first layer. And the right side shows our application about Lightning Network. This application is Bitcoin first layer and second layer node on mobile phone. And this application can connect other companies' application. Currently, we have two other companies' application. End of this month, we add one application, which the application is a game. When user gets some items in game, user can receive this very small amount of Bitcoin. Lightning Network future enables such kind of new feature on games. 3 years ago, we conduct electrical vehicle charge experiment with Japanese electronic company. This is joint project. Nayuta and Tube Electric Power and Asteria conduct this experiment. In this experiment, we developed 2 types of smart plug with blockchain wallet. The one is Bitcoin first layer SPV wallet. SPV wallet means right client wallet. And another one is Bitcoin second layer and first layer node wallet. We also developed the smartphone application. User can make payment and use electricity proper to the payment amount of payment. These 2 types of smart plug has pros and cons. first layer wallet has cons. It cannot handle large TPS, and the payment does not complete instantly. But the first layer type smart plug has a good point, because all payment data is stored in public blockchain, so everybody can use that data. So our smartphone application can use that data. So smartphone apps show where and who is using the smart plug now. The second layer type of smart plug has pros and cons. Pros is it can handle large TPS because we can use Lightning Network, and payment complete immediately. But the second layer does not store the payment data in public. So our smartphone application can't show such data for users. I know there is another alternative technology candidate, enterprise blockchain, but at that time, 3 years ago, I didn't see good future in enterprise blockchain, so I didn't use it. But currently, I think the enterprise blockchain also have the pros and cons comparing to the public blockchain. So I think it's a good candidate for now. This slide shows what we learned from experience. 3 years ago, large company didn't use public blockchain for product because regulation is not clear. IoT business needs large company collaboration because it uses hardware. So developing hardware needs very big budget. So we need to collaborate with large company. So we should consider the future regulation and how to enter market. And another knowledge we got from experiment is Bitcoin is for the individual user, and enterprise blockchain is for the large company user. And blockchain technology is still not mature yet. Global engineer community is developing very good technology like second layer protocol, side chains, or shardings. But every technology has its strengths and weakness, so we should think it very deeply. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, it's great presentation. So Kurimoto addressed the underlying dilemma between the scalability issue of the blockchain and the transparency issue. So of course, it's difficult to achieve the two goals simultaneously. So I think based on the two presentations, Julien, do you have add some comment on the two type of projects? So one is the smart contract basis, based blockchain, and maybe I assume the Ethereum is used in the project. So in contrast, so Kurimoto projects use the Bitcoin. So layer 1 or layer 2 technologies, and of course he's currently doing another type of the permissioned type of the blockchain as a for future considerations. So, but do you have add on the some comments on the from two projects? Julien, do you have some remarks on this?
Sure. Thank you, Miwa-san, and thank you, Jean-Christophe and Kurimoto-san for your presentations. Very interesting. the first thing I would like to emphasize is that it's very interesting to note that we are seeing application of blockchain on other use cases than directly financial applications. Although very often the application of blockchain to new use cases are connected in some way to financial aspects as well. This is not the main value that we can see on those use cases. We can see that on the LNG use case, we are leveraging some blockchain features, some blockchain technologies to facilitate to have a more efficient LNG ecosystem at the end. And for what Kurimoto-san presented, for instance, for the EV charging system, yes, there is a bit of financial aspect within, but at the end, the core goal is to facilitate access to EV charging system, to facilitate the use of those systems for the end users. So that's the first thing. We see more and more applications that are not directly connected to the financial aspects, while blockchain at the very beginning, at least either they were driven by financial goals, financial application in mind, or at least the first use case that we have seen, like tokenization of asset on Ethereum, where most of the cases they were toward financial applications. Then, indeed, we see different blockchains that are used in different contexts. I think this is well summarized by the last slide of Kurimoto-san. Blockchain technology is not yet fully mature. There is still a lot evolving. And in fact, you have different variants of blockchain technologies, different variants of networks, different variants of smart contracts, different variants of rules, like some are permission-based, some networks are permission-based, some are like blockchain and public Ethereum permissionless. And based on those, finally based on the pros and the cons of each kind of technology, then depending of the use cases that you are looking at, some are better than others. So that's also very interesting to know that. It's very nice to see that Lightning Network and the implication of having a higher bandwidth on a transaction per second enables to have kind of micropayments for different applications like the EV charging. It's also very useful to leverage the smart contracts capabilities that are on Ethereum. That could be on public Ethereum, but could be also on a permission-based version of Ethereum, like Hyperledger Bezier, for instance, enterprise blockchain. With smart contracts, you are able to embed and to implement and let's say hardwire directly the rules of a system. And in the case of LNG, of HODLNG in this particular, implementing and enforcing by default the rules of the whole ecosystem for facilitating and making the LNG flow more efficient. As you mentioned, Miwa-san, as the initial contributor of the Begin initiative, blockchain governance initiative. And also, I'm also involved a lot in the standardization world within ISO, the International Standardization Organization, where I'm leading some groups related to standardization of blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. I see more and more different applications leveraging different kind of the aspects of the blockchain, and I think for sure Bitcoin and Ethereum are still among the most often used for those applications. So this is not a surprise to see it in those two presentations.
Thank you so much. Yes, yes, good summary of the two presentations. So yeah, I think the point of the we mentioned that we have still challenges in the blockchain technology, but I think for the considering the business application of the blockchain technology too. So in that case, so it's a very important aspect to use the smart contract to operate the the kind of transaction, autonomously operates the transaction, something. So I think the next topic that will highlight the smart contract discussion. So I think the everyone calls the smart contract as a type of the programmable blockchain or programmability of the blockchain. So I think the I would like to spell out the kind of the lesson or actually using the such kind of smart contract technology. So I think the Julien, I want to ask you to some comment on the kind of the actual use of the smart contracts. So I think there is some, of course, everyone's spell out the pros and cons of the technology. So I think that we'd like to discuss more about the smart contract issues. So Julien, start some comments on your experience of the of the using the smart contracts.
Yeah, thank you. So as you say, smart contract is a way to have something which is programmable, already deployed within a blockchain. So it's not compatible with all blockchain, but it's one of the key assets of Ethereum. But it's also something which is even if it's less well known, it's something which is kind of possible also with some scripts on Bitcoin. So the idea is that you define by default, not by default, but you define in advance some rules for your system. What you will deploy within a blockchain. You will deploy a distributed applications that will be based on those smart contracts, and some of the functionalities are implemented within a smart contract. And those functionalities, as they are implemented and the smart contract has been deployed, those functionalities are there to remain during the life of your smart contracts. So this is very powerful because then that means that what you have specified in advance, and if you agreed, for instance, with in a business-to-business contract, if you agreed to some specific rules, on this is deployed, the rules are enforced by the fact that the smart contract is there and autonomous in some way. What is interesting is that we have seen, and we will see more and more, kind of autonomous organization built with this concept. We all know the DAO concept in the blockchain community, at least. Not necessarily only because of good news, but also because something specific happened to the DAO smart contract a few years ago in Ethereum. But at the end, having autonomous organization deployed is a way to have something which maintain automatically and during the lifetime of the smart contracts. So the organization which maintain the rules of the organization. Where it might be difficult when you try to do this is that you have to try anticipating to basically to all the kind of events, all the functionalities that you may need during the lifetime of your system. So it's technically on the mindset type for a developer or for a system architect, it's something which is rather new. And on the, I would say, on the legal side or regulatory side, it's also a concept that is today that it still need to be resolved in terms of regulation. We have seen also in the Kurimoto-san slides that regulation for different applications, it's still to be defined. And for the case of smart contracts, I guess it's even more.
Hi,
yeah,
Julien. Yes, a little bit interrupted by some kind of the.
No worries.
Okay.
So I was just saying that yes, regulation at the end, regulation on one side and the technicality of smart contracts are probably two barriers for widespread use of the technology today. But it's improving.
Okay, thank you so much. So next, Kurimoto-san. So do you have some comment on the kind of smart contract technology? Yes.
In these years, many organizations conduct many POC experiments with blockchain smart contract. The knowledge and the expertise are accumulated, and all of these industry people have common sense about blockchain smart contract. That is really important, I think, because the autonomous society with blockchain smart contract come from not only one application, but also connecting the independent applications. Because blockchain is not only library for application, but also protocol, which regulates the rule of connecting domain. So, for example, when someone develops the logistic industry application with blockchain, they probably want to interact payment application and manufacturing blockchain application for further automatic society. So the common sense, we have common sense about smart contract. That is very important.
Okay, thank you. Yes, good point. So we are, we need some consideration of the future aspect of the smart contracts. Especially we have to consider the kind of the autonomous economy or something. So of course there is enhanced functionality or something. So but of course in addition to that, so we like to pay attention to the kind of autonomous community. Of course we pay attention to the operable community when it comes to the using the smart contract. Okay, it's a very good point for us. So the JC, do you have specific, your notion on the, smart contracts? You are using the, actually using the smart contract in your blockchain businesses. So please.
Correct. First of all, as an introduction, I used to take a quote from Vitalik Buterin. Once he said, the guy behind Ethereum. One, he said about smart contract. He said something very interesting. He said, maybe I should avoid to call that smart contract. Maybe I should call that something more boring and technical. Maybe I should call that permanent script. So that's my personal point of view, but in smart contract, there is nothing smart, and it's not a contract. So in our case, the way we use the language to program the blockchain is, as Julien stressed, is to set up some rules and to be sure that the system enforces the application of those rules. And it's extremely important when you want to provide more transparency, when you want to be sure that what it was agreed on should fully operational and fully exist in the real life, and especially in the energy industry, but in every industry. When you agree on something and you want to prove that you are conducting the business in the way you are saying that you are doing it, those kind of rules or permanent script are something interesting to remind everyone that you have to play by the rules that you already setting by yourself, the rules you agree on. And of course, in the business industry, you need a little bit some frictionless, let's say. But what is interesting with blockchain and smart contract approach is you can still have this way for the businesses to make some more flexibility and some minor changes, but you cannot have no longer a way to do business in a complete erratical way, if I can say that. So that's why blockchain and smart contract is very interesting, and its application in the business world would be tremendous and very disruptive for some people, for some organization, maybe for some countries. And so what I want to say, and the way we are using smart contract, is just to be sure that when you are agree on certain rules, you have to apply those rules, and you have to stick to these rules, and you have to comply in accordance with the rules, because you define those rules by yourself, amongst yourselves, among your between your contracting parties. So that's the interesting part of blockchain, and the way we can program the blockchain to achieve that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. So that's a very good point. So yeah, I think the yes, of course the time is running out. So next, I would like to move on to the next topics on the this session highlight the blockchain and sustainability issues. So I think the we'd like to pursue the kind of the discussion on the sustainability aspect using the blockchain technology. So I think the from the business point of view, so I want to ask the JC to have some comment on the relationship sustainability and blockchains.
Thank you. Very interesting question, and thank you for that. First of all, the direct connection is not that obvious, because a lot of people told me, but with your blockchain, with the proof of work system, you use a lot of energy and it's counterproductive, and the impact on the climate change is not that good. So, which is partly true. What is more interesting to explore, and this is something that we are trying to achieve with HODLNG, is when you mention sustainability, of course there is a climate change mitigation part. Of course there is the GHG emission reduction and compensation. But when I hear sustainability, for me it's more related to give some new resources to some people that they didn't get all the benefits, in our case, from natural resource. So the way to see the conjunctions between blockchain and sustainability is that you have an extraordinary tool to create more values, and especially to give values to something that's so far today it was complicated to intensify, complicated to calculate the value for that. Some intangible aspects, some non-material aspects, and some contributions, some behaviors, name it in the way you want. But what is interesting, and this is why it's fascinating, and it's extremely complicated, because for the very first time you are able to give value, you are able to give concrete application to intangible things and intangibilities. And when you apply these values to those aspects that it was hard to monetize, hard to put a price tag on, hard to give a monetary value in the sense of the finance aspect, that's the beauty of this system, and that is, from my perspective, the way to connect with sustainability, to give value to something that's until now it was very complicated to put the price on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So next is Julien. So do you have add some comment on the relationship with sustainability and blockchain?
Yeah. I think what JC said, it's very often that we hear that blockchain might not be sustainable because of the impact of, in particular, proof of work consensus mechanisms. But well, given that blockchain is still maturing, and we see many improvements that has been made recently or that are coming. Lightning Network is one example for Bitcoin. Being able to do payments within Lightning Network is a way to improve sustainability of Bitcoin. On Ethereum, there is Ethereum 2.0 with proof of stake mechanisms, which is now under a very active preparation because officially the network just started a few days ago. Even if it's still not for the same usage as Ethereum 1.0, it's really something coming, and that will facilitate the access to many users, and at the same time, while decreasing the impact in terms of computational cost within the system. So it has an impact on sustainability. What I think it's also important to mention is sustainability is also connected to other goals which are not directly related to the environmental impact or economic impact. It's also about inclusiveness, and it's the philosophy of having distributed networks, and for which in some way each user can have the same role as all the others. It's a way to ensure that everyone can participate to some extent with his or her own stakes to some extent to the system. It's not necessarily directly connected to business to business interests when we talk about inclusiveness for everyone, but at the end it means also that on the business side, applications are deployed and then used more easily by more end users. So it's at the end it will have an impact also on the business, and we have already seen many applications along this line, and so that's why we see more and more blockchain participating to the sustainability of our economy, of our day-to-day life, and that's why they are well fit. There is a good fit of those two words together.
Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, Kurimoto-san.
Yes. Yeah.
Please,
In the future, blockchain technology will enable small amount of value exchange, I believe, by some protocol enhancement. It also will enable connecting the other domain application in the future by interoperability technologies. Such feature will contribute business sustainability and efficiency. The current industry has a lot of inefficiencies in the value exchange mechanism. We can redesign such part by blockchain smart contract as to eliminate waste. In the future, connecting many domain applications will make more efficient world, and it enables the sustainability and business efficiency.
Thank you so much. So, okay, I think now the 55 minutes have passed from the start. So I think that I would like to wrap up the session. So thank you so much for the commenting the kind of the very noble issues of the blockchain technology. So today, we highlight the blockchain and sustainability. I think in the discussion of the smart contracts, so I think of course the smart contract provides the autonomous operations and provides a great efficiency of the transaction or something. So it's we can get upside returns, but of course we pay attention to the kind of the decentralized kind of type of management. So Julien argued that Julien mentioned the example of the DAO, decentralized, kind of the organization case. So of course, the in the case of the harnessing the smart contract technology, of course, we pay attention to the governance issues. But of course, we have to produce many projects using smart contracts. So we would like to gain the knowledge about the further applicability, and of course, this provides efficiency of business, and frictionless of the business is a great kind of opportunity and profit for the society. But as JC argued that, of course, we have to consider the good circle of the kind of monetization of the kind of the project, especially in light of the sustainability. Of course, the difficult issue is that currently we are not able to properly value the intangible kind of the aspect. Of course, frictionless, reducing the frictions or some providing efficiency is a good effect to the society, but it's difficult to evaluate the kind of the kind of such a kind of value on on it. So of course, the Kurimoto-san mentioned that we would like to gain knowledge, and of course we would like to produce the kind of common sense of the technology. Of course, the common understanding is a very important point to seek for the technological application to the businesses. Of course, the initially I mentioned as the first discussion. So we set out the blockchain governance initiative network we call BEGIN. So very much for stakeholder type of discussion platform. So currently we are discussing about the technological issues, and of course I'm also participating the BEGIN from the regulator side. So we also provide the input to the BEGIN from the regulator's perspective. But of course, the important things that in the multi-stakeholder discussion, we need the input from the business side. So we would like to gain a lot of knowledge on the business aspect. We are very reflective to the technology, using such a kind of knowledge from the business side. So we would like to this time. So we pick up the very important but difficult topics to discuss. So thank you for the all panelists joining us. So it gained a great input from you, and thank you so much for joining and staying in touch and stay or keeping your health and safe. So thank you so much. Thank you very much.